Jesus is Lord. And he was such a nice Jewish boy. Jesus changed my life, and he's still in the life-changing business.
As Paul said, the love of Christ compels.
You know, Randy, I think most people don't realize how much darkness there is in the world.
It can't be just coming to church and getting pumped up with the faith. You and I are all going to have something of faith in us by which we
Jesus died
stand.
to save sinners, and you are a sinner.
Well, welcome to CrossTalk. My name is Joshua Weiss, and today I want to talk about Israel. I want to talk about the Jewish people of Israel and the current state that Israel is in. I'm sure that you've seen the news, and I'm sure that you've followed the history of events, maybe not closely, but enough that you understand that conflict is no stranger to the land of Israel. Conflict is something that Israel has dealt with for a very long time. And before we delve into today's episode, I want to just walk you through a few scriptures from the Bible, and maybe this will help to set the course of our program this morning. And to start, I want to turn to Jeremiah chapter 31. It says, "This is what the Lord says, He who appoints the sun to shine by day, who decrees the moon and stars to shine by night, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar. The Lord Almighty is His name. Only if these decrees vanish from my sight, declares the Lord, will the descendants of Israel ever cease to be a nation before me." The God who formed the foundations of the earth, He has called Israel His land, a land that He set aside for His people. In Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 62 through 64, it says, "You who were as numerous as the stars in the sky will be left but few in number, because you did not obey the Lord your God. Just as it pleased the Lord to make you prosper in an increase in number, so it will please the Lord to ruin and destroy you. You will be uprooted from the land you are entering to possess. Then the Lord will scatter you among all nations, from one end of the earth to the other. There you will worship other gods, gods of wood and stone, which neither you nor your fathers have known." This time in history has come and it's gone. Israel was scattered. The Jewish people were scattered. My descendants were scattered to all parts of the world. Jump back to Leviticus chapter 26, verse 44. "Yet, in spite of this, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not reject them or abhor them so as to destroy them completely, breaking my covenant with them. I am the Lord their God." It is impossible for God to lie. God does not make covenants that He does not keep. And God has made a covenant with the people of Israel, and He keeps His covenants. What happened, though, is the children of Israel, they lost faith, they didn't follow Him, and that caused a certain series of events to take place that God prophesied, that God explained, this will happen. If you break my commands, there are consequences. There are things that get set in motion, and that's what we're seeing if we look throughout history took place with Israel. Let's jump ahead to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 11. "In that day, the Lord will reach out His hand a second time to reclaim the remnant that is left of His people from Assyria, from Lower Egypt, from Upper Egypt, from Cush, from Elam, from Babylon, from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth." So they're going to be brought back. He's going to gather them back. See, they get scattered, but He's going to bring them back. And we look at what's happened in the land of Israel. Isaiah prophesied this in chapter 35. He said, "The desert and the parched land will be glad. The wilderness will rejoice and blossom like the crocus. It will burst into bloom." Over the course of the last 60 years, Israel which was once a desert land. It was desolate, it was barren, there was nothing. And over the course of this short time that Israel has once again been a nation, it has blossomed. The land of Israel is the promised land flowing with milk and honey. And if you've visited, you've seen the vegetation, the rich history that the land has is now alive and thriving. It's coursing through the veins of this land, just like Isaiah prophesied. But the story doesn't end there. If we jump to Zechariah in chapter 12, it says, "This is the word of the Lord concerning Israel. The Lord, who stretches out the heavens, who lays the foundation of the earth, who forms the spirit of man within him, declares, I am going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all the surrounding peoples reeling. Judah will be besieged as well as Jerusalem. On that day, when all the nations of the earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all of the nations. All who try to move it will injure themselves." There's a lot of history that you can read in advance when you're looking through scriptures. You see, the story of Israel has been unfolded before the story took place by God throughout the scriptures. We know Israel is God's promised. It's God's promised land to the Jewish people, to His people. As believers, Gentiles can be grafted into that family. But God's promise, His covenant with the children of Israel has not left. He has not forsaken them, and He will keep His covenant with them. My question for you right now is, will you stand with Israel? Will you join with God's land, God's chosen people? Will you bless Israel like you've been called to do? Will you be a friend of Israel in their time of need? When we come back from a short break, I have a very special guest with me who's going to tell you a little bit about the land of Israel, life in Israel, and a very tangible way that you can stand with Israel during this prophesied conflict. Stick around. It's going to be a great program.